Hey, so this is my Module 12 reading reflection, my Chapter 12 reading reflection. I actually wanted to start, I don't know why I'm wearing this. I'm not using this microphone. I actually wanted to start by talking about the discussion post because one thing I found interesting, the opening question of the discussion post is, how has social media shaped the way you attend to the world around you? Um, and the two people I responded to in our class talked about how social media has been a negative influence on their view of the world. And it's so interesting because I think that social media has been a negative influence of how I view myself, but it has impacted the way I view the world positively. Because I am a cisgender white male that grew up in a bubble, right? I grew up in Provo, Utah, and so I live in an area that was made for me. And so I became a more empathetic person because I was able to see other people struggling and going through things that I didn't understand. And that was where I learned to understand that people have more difficult lives than me, right? And to be more empathetic and to be more understanding and to listen to everything somebody has to say before I decide what I think of them. Um, I talk about how I think it made me less close minded and less immature, right? And how it has offered me, a person who struggles to connect, I'm just really quiet and introverted. It offers me a place to connect with somebody and then hang out with them. And by the time I hang out with them, I already know stuff about them, right? I don't feel quite as strange meeting a new person. Um, and then I also wanted to talk about the application. What a cool exercise because I think it is easy to identify in online messaging, it's easy to identify inetiquette in ourselves or communication competence in ourselves, right? We can take a piece of media from ourselves and break it down. It is hard to understand when you don't understand where the other person was coming from and trying to understand their use of communication competence in that sense and understanding nonverbal cues from a person that you don't know, right? That's really difficult. Um, this is such a big part of communication as a whole now because so much of our communication is online. Um, a lot of our activities, I think, in applied communications going forward are going to be centered around online communication, right? And how to do it correctly and how to be respectful while doing it. We did a big section in one of my other communication classes about online communication and how to show respect doing it. And a lot of that applies here, right? I also like that we touched on online identities. I Online identities are the thing I struggle with a lot because it is so easy for somebody to be somebody that they don't want to be online. And because of that, they say anything that they would like online without the fear of being in trouble. If it were up to me, I understand anonymity in some spaces online is smart. On a social media platform, I would like it if anonymity didn't exist, right? I use X, or I still call it Twitter. I use Twitter a lot. Um, and all of my interactions that have been poor have come from people who are who are not showing their identity, right? The ability to hide who you are and converse with somebody one on one is a difficult concept for me because it allows you to just be whoever you want to be. And while that's a cool thought, it also is gross and it's hard. And it's hard to build trust. And I get that building trust in online space is already difficult, but that makes it worse, right? Um, Sorry, I just talked a lot about our discussion and the application, but those things really stuck out to me.